fact, most recent research from the CEO saying that they're expecting almost half of all revenues are going to be digital in the next few years. That means that security has gone from protecting a production environment to protecting income, which in theory means you're going to have loads of budget. The reality is different. But there's so many aspects to IT that businesses need to consider. It's how do we raise the profile of security from one of, well, it's like insurance, to one of, it's critical to the business for business success. And that's what hopefully what I'm going to try and do is share with you some of those conversations you should be having. But obviously, let's start with the threats. Now, you've heard from Vishak, you've heard from Bambi, but this is what you told us, what the biggest threats you saw. And this is interesting. So, the light blue colour, and this is all stat rank based on what you here in the Philippines told us, is where you'll see. So, ransomware, number one. Now, that's not bad, because the C-suite hate ransomware and it produces funding. But ransomware is not going to go away, and it's going to get worse. Then you're seeing denial of service and IoT attacks. But across the region, supply chain was number one. Software supply chain. So remember the old solar winds, and there are so many more examples. And then the next thing they were seeing was insider threats. You're a trustworthy bunch, so you don't have them, right? Okay. The question I have for you is, are you aware of all of the threats? Is this really the actual number, or are there things you're missing? Because a quick trawl of headlines showed me that there is a lot of things going on here. I know Vishak pointed out all those APT organisations that are targeting the Philippines. You have the advantage of having organisations just north of the border across the sea that are solely targeting your infrastructure. So you've got to protect this, because what is the definition of digital infrastructure is changing all the time. So, you know this, I don't need to tell you this. But AI now is being embedded in cyber attacks. So we did ask how many of you are aware that you're being attacked by AI. Not everybody is capable of understanding we have an AI attack going on. And whether that's helpful or not, I don't know. But this is what we saw. As you can see, deep fake is the biggest one. So, and it's all really pushing to things like business email compromise is a big problem around this. So that's very much a social challenge, but this is where AI is being used that you're seeing here in the Philippines. Across the region, you're seeing credential stuffing and brute force attacks trying to hack logins. A lot of it is around identity and users, so thinking about that. So these are the kind of the areas you've got to protect yourself from. And guess what? I don't know whether you're going to see this as good news or bad news. So as part of the study, we asked, how big is your revenue? What percentage of revenue is spent on IT? What percentage of IT revenue is spent on security? And then we compared this. And no, you're not the worst in the region, okay? So we asked everybody in Asia, 11 countries in Asia Pacific. So the regional average, as you can see here, is that 30% of my overall IT team is in security, and the IT team is 15%. Whereas here in the Philippines, those numbers are marginally smaller. Now, 1% difference, 2% difference is barely even a body these days. But I think this is an important point that we need to raise up to the senior leadership, that based on our findings, here in the Philippines, we are currently underfunding and under-resourcing security. That's significant. And here's where to think about what we do with this. So one of the greatest challenges for internally developing Gen AI applications, okay, show of hands, who is not developing Gen AI applications, or which business is not? Yeah, I do know you put the hands up. So everybody is doing some form of Gen AI at the moment. So what was interesting here was this is a generic AP survey, and we're comparing the average results for those that are the most mature, those that have already deployed AI into production. So learning from the experts. So on average, we're worried about lack of necessary Gen AI specific security expertise. But as we get more knowledgeable, we start to worry about, well, budget, its cost is an issue. And then we worry about lack of integration with other security systems. Because, as Bambi said this morning, complexity is rife across the security environment. And IDC has said complexity is the enemy of security. We have to figure out how to simplify things moving forward. So, yes, AI is one of those solutions, as Kelvin talked to you, but the whole concept of moving towards a platform, a primary platform, is also a big part of what IDC advocates. So you're at the right event. That's the law. Okay, because what we see is where security falls in practice. So this is from the study we did together. This was really, really interesting. So whenever we ask people in Asia, how many tools have you got on average? They go, oh, 5 or 7. You go, really? 5 or 7? If we go to the US or Europe, they've got hundreds. So what are you all doing? What do you all think of as a tool? So I'm sharing these statistics, but I ask you to look more closely. How many tools do you have? And if it is 5, well, then you're clearly underfunding yourselves, because none of you have got a platform yet, right? So the challenges we see is that, is this data really reflective of what you have, or is it just people were asking? Because when we look at, say, North America, some are having 100, the average was 50, 140 at the top. And what people were looking for by minimizing the number of tools was reducing mean time to respond. Again, which Kelvin talked about, how quickly can we respond and remediate a problem. And then decreasing remediation, increasing time to respond and remediation by an average of 20%. And that's, a day earlier in the week. Doing it a day before and having Friday off. Because all attack happens on a Monday, right? But so this is really the focus of where you need to be looking at. What are the primary tools that are going to deliver you that platform, and where do you then need to find tools that will integrate to that platform? Because that's how we're going to get more efficient. We know the story, you've got to be right 100% of the time, the bad guy only has to be right one time. So you've got to figure out how to become more efficient, and that's removing complexity, leveraging automation. Because if you only have 5 tools, are you protecting the right things? So this is the IDC viewpoint on where the security investment should go. Now within each of these areas, there are multiple tools. So you can see for yourself from the network, that's the fundamental base where we're going to monitor everything across endpoints, identities, applications, and more so in the world of AI, data. Data has been the orphan of security forever, because the security team has never really looked at data, and anybody in the storage team has only ever looked at spinning Rust. Now AI is all about the data, and we need to know where it is, we need to know that it is secure, we need to know that it can maintain its integrity, and as you're learning, it's all over the place. It's in the cloud, it's on laptops, it's on OT devices, it is everywhere, and nobody really knows where it should be. So the opportunity is quite broad, as are the challenges. So in the study we said, well, where are you going to spend your money? Because obviously you all have unlimited security budgets, right? Yeah, no, we know we don't. What's interesting, and this is really brought on because of the lack of skill. So trying to find people is difficult, it's challenging. So there's a lot more people, a lot more organisations are reaching out to security services, resiliency services. Resiliency, by the way, is the term the C-suite wants to hear. Because resilience is how quickly you can return to normal. Security is just locking things down and saying, like the most secure computer in the world, we used to say was one that was embedded in concrete. No, that's not secure because people can break in concrete. We drop it in the Marianas Trench, but that's not true because people can still get to the Marianas Trench. We put it on the moon, no one's been there for a while, but someone will go there eventually. So security is a challenge. If people can touch it, it needs to be protected. So the next area we're spending is on analytics. That's good, analysis. Although someone has to respond to it, and I love the demo, Kelvin saying, well now AI can respond to that analysis. Obviously we're still going to have humans in the loop and humans on the loop for a while, but not forever. And then threat intel. So again you see the difference in the regional spend and the Philippines spend. Regionally, they're looking at identity, they're looking at SASE and zero trust. So I can only assume you've all got that covered already? No? Okay. You know what you need to focus on after this, right? Or at this event. So this is where we see people are spending their money. And there's no correct answer. We've shown you the 5 areas you need to spend in, and we know what the business priorities are. So how are we going to use AI security? And again, it was really interesting. Here, you're we're going to use it this way. We know exactly what we're going to do with AI security. And the rest of the region is going, we're doing it differently. So arguably, you're a different country, a different market, we're quite geographically separate and dispersed. But running playbooks, proof of protection and documentation, yes, we're protected. That seems like a fruitless task, if you ask me. Guided investigations makes a lot of sense. Regionally, writing rules, social engineering detections, which you did say were the highest number of AI threats that we see, and then demonstrating results of alert correlation. So again, I'm not saying that the region is correct, I'm not saying you is correct, I'm just highlighting you're looking at different things. As long as you understand why you are doing so and you are sure it is correct for you, then there's no problem. Because when we're using AI, fortunately when we're using AI, there are only 3 things to worry about in Gen AI space. That's your stuff, your models, and everybody else. Okay, so only 3 things, yeah? And this is an area where we're going to see a lot more interest, because as agentic AI starts to work across organizations, you're going to be trusting not only the models but the agents of other organizations to integrate with you. And that means we're going to spend money in different areas. So I want to dwell a little bit on some predictions that we have for you. Some are good, some not so good. So we do 10 predictions around security every year. Here's how they apply to the region. 4 I thought were useful. So in 2 years, 30% of businesses will have DIY security for developers and line of business application owners. That won't be a problem, will it? For those of you that have ever heard me speak before, the app developers believe they're secure because they call it, DevSecOps? I argue, if they call it SecDevOps, they'd be doing it. They don't, it's not, it's your problem. Application developers do not care about security because it gets in the way. So if they're doing it DIY, you've got to figure out how to wrap around it without slowing them down. Next one is around identity, using AI for identity. That's going to be a big thing because identity of agents is something that we need to know. Are these agentic applications, do they maintain integrity moving forward? 45% by 2029, so a bit further out, are going to use external tax scans, surface scans, to address third-party risk. So in this digital world, we're all connected to everybody else. And this is what we are seeing in many markets in Europe and the US, driving security investments. When your number 1 business partner goes, not very secure. Can't do business if you're not secure. And that drives funding. But you don't want to be that weak link in the supply chain. That, by the way, is something the business leaders need to know about, need to be aware of, because there's a challenge for them. And then finally, so this year, 15% growing, moving proof of concept production to specific Gen AI use cases without any risk-based assessment. So yeah, crazy, into the wild, no idea what's going on, and you're expected to solve it for them. So some advice on this. First off, this is an eye chart. I'm going to leave it with you to take away. I'll let you take it away and have a look at it. But this is where we believe the challenges are with building out and securing trustworthy AI initiatives. And you can see in the middle there, we've got the network, endpoints, application, identity, and data that I talked about earlier. But critically, there are so many other areas that the security team doesn't often get involved with. So what do we need to think about and deal with that? And I shall tell you shortly. But let's sort of round this up. So security focus around third-party Gen AI apps is changing with maturity, and this is really interesting. So this was a global study of what are the 2 greatest challenges organizations face securing third-party Gen AI. Now, if you look at the region, it's implementing DLP, it's limited visibility into the apps, it's lack of security stuff. But if we look at those organizations globally leading, they changed. Now it's identity authentication, authorization, least privilege. They've got over the hurdle of the early learning. This is where they're focusing their efforts. So you get a chance to leapfrog. They're really interested in lack of integration with other security systems. That platform demand. So this slide is really, if nothing else, giving you a chance to leapfrog ahead of what everybody's learning and learn from those leaders where the focus needs to be. So, that was a lot, wasn't it? So how do we try and bring it all together? So the essential thing, the starting point is clean up your own house, right? Address the sprawl. I've worked with security systems integrators, bad word I know for some, and some of you are, sorry. But every one of them, before they come and do any work, they want to do an audit, because they want to know what they're protecting. And do you know what, on average, they discover in excess of 25% more network, more devices, more systems than you think you have. So when was the last time you did the full audit of the systems? On-premise, off-premise, on-device, on laptops. Okay, if it wasn't this morning, it's not up to date. And if it was this morning, it's 3 hours out of date already. This is continuous auditing. This is kind of the fundamental of security day in a hybrid cloud world. So once you understand what you're trying to protect, then you can start to think what are the right tools we need to apply. And how can we consolidate that into as small a number of platforms as possible? Now, where IDC, we quite understand that there's no one organisation at the moment that can address all your security needs. But find the organisation that addresses the fundamentals, that has a strong platform in which you can integrate these other tools, has to be the way forward. So you're at the right event for that. I can't say that out loud, I just did that. And in the same process, you've got to embed AI and automate, because time to respond, time to discover is really critical. And only the systems themselves are going to be able to surface this. You need to be able to eradicate the amount of noise so you can focus on the signal. And so this is where AI and automation is going to help. Now, when I went to Kelvin's presentation, AI was saying, hey, we can fix that for you. And I said, hey, we can fix that for you. Would you like me to do it? Like, to be honest, I'd like you to just do it and tell me when it's done. That is the future we're going to be heading for. Because time is the most valuable asset security teams do not have. Then hybrid architecture, unavoidable. Zero trust throughout. If you're still on that zero trust journey, accelerate it. Because it's on and off premise, it's everywhere. You cannot, the clouds themselves are secure, it's how we run clouds that are not. You don't apply zero trust, it doesn't work. And that's going to be from edge to the core to the cloud, everywhere you have systems. Because endpoints are changing overnight. AI is going to really change this. A lot of AI is going to happen at the edge, which means we're going to be protecting models, protecting data, and then protecting the integrity of systems. And that's a very big change. And then a lot of organizations are saying, we'll do this on cloud, but no, we'll do this on-prem. It's going to be hybrid, unavoidable. Organizationally, we've got to change the conversation with the business. It's not about security, it's about business resilience. And clearly defined leadership. Our study showed not many of you had dedicated CISOs. Not many of you have dedicated full-time security leads. I'm sure in this room we do, but that's got to change. And then clearly embedding into the AI center of excellence is absolutely critical, because those developers, those AI data scientists, they're not thinking about security. Only you are thinking about security. You have to change this. And finally, finding the right partners, because it's so complicated, you can't do this by yourselves. Don't even try. So clearly you're not doing it, you're in the right place to do that. Take the platform approach, embed AI wherever you can. I hope you found that useful. I'm up for the panel next. Thank you very much.